Didn't we all grow up watching Westerns? Our next inductee, Frances Kavanaugh, was one of the top female screenwriters of the B-genre Western films of the 1940s.
'14 Cowgirl Hall of Fame honoree, Frances Kavanaugh. Called the Cowgirl of the Typewriter, Frances Kavanaugh was one of very few women in 1940s Hollywood writing film scripts for B-Westerns. For most of the golden age of cinema, Western films accounted for nearly 30% of all Hollywood feature production. The Western was the prominent B-genre in the 1930s and 1940s. Kavanaugh rode to the top, writing over 30 scripts for production companies like Monogram, Eagle Lion, and PRC. Born in Dallas, Texas in 1915, Frances and her sister Jane were raised by their mother Robbie and stepfather Claude Kavanaugh after their father passed at an early age. The Kavanaughs loved horses and spent a great deal of time riding. Frances and Jane grew up watching double features at Saturday matinees, which gave Frances a deep sense of what made a Western film feel Western. Moving to Los Angeles, California in 1940, Frances and Jane both enrolled in drama school at the prestigious Max Reinhardt's workshop. Frances often wrote individualized sketches for the players to perform. The prolific producer and director Robert Emmett Tansey saw one and asked to meet the writer. He immediately offered her a job at Monogram, polishing script dialogue. The first script was so bad that Kavanaugh told Tansey that she could not fix it. He gave her the chance to rewrite it and was astonished when she gave him the first 100 pages the very next morning. The original was his own work, but hers was so much better that she became his head writer. Frances wrote and adapted more than 30 Westerns, working with stars like Tom Keene, Duncan Ronaldo, Eddie Dean, Alfred Lash LaRue, and Chief Thundercloud. She served as the principal writer from 1942 to 1944 for Monogram's Trailblazer series, which featured the likes of Ken Maynard, Hoot Gibson, and Bob Steele. Kavanaugh had a keen eye for detail, and she customized the scripts according to the stars' on-screen personalities, the location, the budget, and catered to the audiences who loved the B-Western genre.
Didn't know Hank had a sister.
Well, I've been away at school, only coming home in the summers. But since Mom and Dad passed away, why, I decided I'd better stay here and help Hank run the ranch.
You were studying home care, I suppose?
No, high finance.
Among her impressive film credits are Dynamite Canyon, Blazing Guns, Colorado Serenade, Song of Old Wyoming, Stars Over Texas, and Cattle Queen. Kavanaugh also assisted with shooting schedules and the financial accounting, becoming completely immersed and instrumental to her projects. Besides her steady work with Tansey, Kavanaugh also provided outlines, scripts, and rewrites for Columbia Pictures with feature films such as Enchanted Valley and Outpost in Morocco. In 1951, Frances married Lieutenant Colonel Robert L. Hecker, who worked at the Mutual Broadcasting System and wrote freelance television and radio scripts. They were well matched, collaborating on TV scripts for Zorro at the Disney Studio and others at Four Star Studio, Goldwyn Studio, and KABC. Frances Kavanaugh retired from screenwriting after 10 years in the business to raise a family. After her children grew up, Frances decided to enroll at California State University. She received a BA in art and an MA in psychology, beginning a new career in special education art therapy. The screenwriter died at the age of 93 in 2009. Her strong writing and attention to detail placed her at the pinnacle of the B-Western genre, helping blaze the trail for female writers in filmmaking. We are humbled to announce Frances Kavanaugh as a 2014 inductee into the National Cowgirl Hall of Fame.
Please join me in welcoming Frances Kavanaugh's husband, Robert Hecker.
Well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. You know, when I got up this morning, I think my hair was black. But when I looked at all these people here, I thought, oh my God, my hair turned snow white. Anyway, Frances and I were married when we got married, everybody said, well, they looked at me and they said, this marriage certainly won't last very long. Well, it lasted for 57 years, so I guess you did something right. But I think what happened, I learned the secret to a long marriage when I first married Frances. What happened, we went to a circus one time, and they had one of these shooting galleries there. And so I was shooting because I thought it was a pretty good shot from World War II. But afterward, I said, Frances, you want to try your hand here? She took that rifle and went bang, 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 bang. She shot every one of those targets. She cleaned out all of their trophies, you know. So from then on, I said, Frances, whatever you say is okay with me. But they thought Frances started writing in Hollywood. Actually, she started writing in Texas. When she was in grade school, she started writing scripts for her schoolmates, and they put on plays that Frances wrote, and she wrote them, she directed them, she cast them, she did everything. So when she got to Hollywood and started writing there, it was second nature for her. And when we got married and started writing together, well, it worked out fine. And then when we started having kids, she sort of gave up writing and dedicated herself to raising her children. And Frances was one of these people that wherever she went, everybody knew Frances. She was the center of attention. Well, I remember when we were married, we'd go to parties, people would look at me and say, who are you? And I said, I'm married to her. And they'd say, oh, that's who you are. So anyway, all the kids would come over to our house to play because they wanted to come there because Frances was there. We never had to send our kids anywhere. Everybody else came there. I think a lot of it might have had to do with the animals. She loved animals. I don't remember ever having less than 3 dogs and 2 cats, a couple of turtles, goldfish, rabbits. Everything was there, and the kids all came over there to play with her and be there where she was with all the animals and all the other kids. And then when our kids got old enough to go to school by herself, Frances she turned to a new career, which was education. And she started going back to the university herself. She loved art and studied art in the university. Wound up with 2 degrees in art, and then she turned to psychology, I think because of me. Anyway, she got her master's degree in psychology, never used it on anybody else. But it worked out fine. But Frances was one of these people, she loved parties. She would get up out of a sick bed to go to a party. So when I look around her today, I think, well, look at this party, Frances. And it's for you. And I wouldn't be surprised if she wasn't here today. So still love you, Frances.